Welcome to Influencer, our series of conversations with the world's digital thought leaders, the people creating the trends that we're all talking about. Joining me now is the one and only, I must say, because you are one and only.
One of the few.
Weird Al Yankovic. Thanks so much for being here.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for being here as well.
No, I mean, it's so fabulous. You have over 2 million Twitter followers.
I do.
I'm amazed by that.
Me too.
When did that all start?
Probably when I joined Twitter, I think.
When was that?
Was it maybe 2 years ago, something like
So
that?
you were an early...
I was pre-Oprah. I was PO.
Oh, PO.
Yeah.
Are you an early adopter? Do you consider yourself that?
I wasn't as early as like Ashton and some of the OGs on Twitter.
OGs?
But,
OGs?
but I kind of got into it when I just ahead of the big curve. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and now you're making a lot of noise with your YouTube parodies. The Lady Gaga one that came out, I mean, that was just incredible. It has over 6 million views on YouTube right now.
Right, in the first week, so that's doing okay.
And that was a big push for you. You thought that was really important because it represented the album.
Yeah, I mean, you know, anytime I put out an album, like the first single, first video is very important because it's basically going to be the face of the album. It's going to be the thing that people see, and it's going to be hopefully the thing that makes them want to go out and buy the album. So it's always important for me to be topical and for me to come out with something that's going to get people's attention.
But it was hard to get her attention at first. Tell me how that all went down, because that was like a whole debacle online.
Yeah, that was it was the Gaga saga is what I called it on my blog. But the story is long and involved. But in a nutshell, basically, you know, I always get permission when I do the parodies, and you know, I didn't have Lady Gaga's personal email address or anything, so I had to go through her people, and her manager was like, yeah, well, you know, send it to us and we'll check it out. And I sent them the lyrics, and he said, no, Lady Gaga needs to hear it before she'll approve it. I was like, well, no, these are the lyrics. You know how the song goes. You can put them together in your head, and that's how it's gonna be. And it's like, no, if we don't hear it, then we're not gonna approve it.
Troy was good at giving you crap. I know Troy.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna mention any names, but okay.
It's okay. We're all internet people here. You could share.
Yes. So basically, it was, you know, kind of a lot of time and expense. I was actually on the road in Australia at the time, and I was going to go on vacation with my family in Hawaii afterwards, but instead I went into the studio for a week and recorded the song and sent it in, and then the word we got back a week later was, no. No,
but then you put it online, and you proved the model.
Yeah. So yeah, what happened? No, I should point out that Lady Gaga had never heard it. We were being told, oh, we've got to run it by Gaga. You know, she had never heard it. When I put it online, I put it on YouTube. I basically put the blog up and I explained, this is what I've been working on. This did not get approved. This will not be on the new album, but I
hear it's online anyway.
But I wanted you guys to hear it, you know, because this is what I've been doing the last month.
Yeah.
And it got like 1 million or 2 million hits that day, and created a small media firestorm, I guess, to the point where like people were coming up to Lady Gaga going, "How come you're not letting Weird Al do this?" And she was like, "What are you talking about? I love Weird Al. What? He's doing a parody?" She had never even been contacted, and she immediately gave permission, flipped it around, and I had an album release date that very day.
I love those internet stories.
Yeah, I mean, this would not have been able to happen like 20 years ago. I mean, it was like through the power of Twitter and YouTube. That basically saved my album.
So speaking of YouTube, some of the most successful content on YouTube is the parody, and you are the master of the parody. You originated. You are the father, the father monster. Of the parody. So, what is your recipe for a truly great and funny parody?
Well, if I were to write a book on parody, and I promise I won't, but there's several parameters I like to use.
Yeah.
One is, for most parody, it's important for it to be either topical or timely, either the subject matter or the song. Also, and this is a big one, it's important that it be funny even if you haven't heard the original song that it's based on. Because a lot of people, you know, aren't familiar with top 40 radio. Either they're too old, too young, or they're just not into it. And it's got to be funny for those people too. And thirdly, it's just got to sustain, because some ideas are kind of funny for like one joke, reveal, haha, and then you got 2 more minutes of song to fill. So it's got to be, you know, as funny in the third verse as it is in the first verse.
Who do you bounce your ideas off of?
Mostly my wife. I mean, because she's close. And,
and
she's got a great sense of humor, and she usually reins me in if I'm getting too out there.
Nice. All right, so we have a Twitter question. Keep those questions coming in. From @Ludovica, who wants to know, how do you deal...
Ludovica.
Hi, Ludovica. How do you deal with the most hurtful comments that people come up with? Does criticism ever shake your self-confidence?
Well, it depends how much I think they're accurate. I mean, if they're way off base, I think, oh, they're trolling. But if there's a grain of truth, I kind of go, ooh, yeah, maybe I'll work on that.
Yeah, and you have a daughter.
I do.
Right? And what does she think about what you do?
She appreciates it. I mean, she's very grounded and she enjoys it, and she's not like a Hollywood kid, but she really I think understands my sense of humor. And,
she understands it.
No, it's cool for her
Yeah.
because she's been in the wings watching me do live shows since she was a toddler, and she was very into Star Wars. So when all the stormtroopers come out for the saga begins, that's a huge thrill for her.
So you have an awesome geeky daughter.
Okay.
No, I love you have Star Wars. She's a star. She likes Star Wars.
Yeah.
She's a Star Wars.
I'm
geek.
raising her right.
Yeah, and so speaking of children, you have a children's book also. How
I
did
do.
you decide to get into that?
That was something that I wanted to do, for the last couple of decades. In the back of my mind, I always thought, I would love to do a children's book.
Yeah.
And a couple of years ago, Ann Hoppy, an editor from HarperCollins, kind of approached me out of the blue and said, I'm a big fan of your music, and I think there's a lot of interesting wordplay in your lyrics, and I think you'd be fairly adept at children's literature. And I said, yeah, that sounds great. And I didn't get back with her for another year and a half because I was in the middle of a tour and doing other things. And I emailed her over Christmas break a couple of years ago and said, let's do this. And I sent her several ideas, and she liked When I Grow Up, which is one of my concepts. And basically the story's about an 8-year-old kid named Billy who during his show and tell class, he just riffs on all the crazy imaginative things he wants to be when he grows up. So it's funny. It's sort of like very much inspired by Dr. Seuss and Shel Silverstein. And it's whimsical, but also hopefully it's empowering for kids to let them know that there's a world of possibilities out there.
Why did it take 6 years for you to make another album?
Well, it's 5, but
is it-
it's hard to say. I mean, I'm getting a little bit slower.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of projects come up in the meantime. I did like 257 live shows with my band.
Crazy.
And and also I just take more time with my albums these days because I used to bang them out, every year in the '80s, and now it's sort of like I really try to make every album that I do the best thing that I've ever done, and it is, at least in my own mind. It's I think some people agree with me, but I mean. Every album that I put out now is sort of an event, so I really want to make sure it's right before I put it out.
Yeah, you have a new album, new book, music videos. A lot of fans, though, want to know, we got these questions, is there going to be a sequel to UHF?
I'm guessing not.
You're like, that's back in the day, I'll keep it there.
Unless a major motion picture studio thinks that's a wonderful idea, and I kind of don't think they will. I mean, I'm very grateful that it's become a cult classic and fans love it and obsess over it, but the truth is it was not a hit. In fact, it was a flop when it came out in 1989, and not many sequels are made out of flops. But I would love to do another movie someday.
Well, I'm sure you will, because you're already on that road, and you're going to find out if your album, a new number today, right?
Yes, later this afternoon.
That's awesome. Well, check him out, of course, and follow him and all his fun madness on Twitter, @Yankovic. Thanks for being
My
here,
pleasure,
Al.
thank you.
You're great, thank you.
No, you.
No, you.
You.
No, you. All right, I have to continue on to the next thing.